Hello everyone. So friends, in this section of course, we will be discussing about how we can do stubbing in Mockito. So in this lesson, we will see that what is stubbing and why it is important to do in our unit test. So if you see, one of the primary benefit of Mockito is ability to return a provided response when a specific method is called on mock dependency. So here what it means that as we are mocking out the external dependency, when our class under test will call any method on mock dependency, then we need to tell Mockito what to do. And this is also one of the primary benefit of Mockito, that we can tell Mockito that if any specific method is called on mock dependency, then simply return a provided response, or we can say a configured response by a developer, so that other parts of the code can be tested of the class under test. So friends, this process of writing how a given mock method should behave is called stubbing. And also friends, in our previous lecture we saw an example when we used when and then return methods. So those methods did the stubbing for us. But in this section of course, we will be discussing stubbing in greater detail. And we will see the different methods Mockito provides to perform the stubbing in our mocks. So friends, at a higher level, this feature is usually performed in two ways. The first way is using Mockito's static method when along with then return. So in our previous lecture we also saw a simple example where we used when and then return. So this is a combination of method. So here this combination states that when any specific method is called on mock object, then return a pre-configured value or response. So friends, here Mockito provided the names such as when and then return because when we use these methods in our test, it makes readability of our test clear, and we simply read it as that when any specific method on the mock object is called, then return a pre-configured response. So friend, this is the first way. The second way is using Mockito's static method do return plus when. So this approach also provides a good readability. It states that do return a pre-configured value when specific method is called on mock object. So friends, here chaining of the operation which we are seeing here does the stubbing for us. In our upcoming lectures, we will see the demonstration of both of these approaches. Moving ahead. So friends, while we perform stubbing in Mockito, there are few tips around it. Mockito uses equals method while matching arguments during stubbing. So friends, if we go back, here if you see, when we call when method, we actually provide the mock dependency and we call the specific method on the mock dependency. So when we call the method, it may take certain arguments. So what Mockito does is, whatever arguments we provide in when method, when we execute our test and when our call reaches to our mock dependency where we are calling the specific method, there it simply uses the equals method to check whatever we have stubbed is correct or not. So friend, in case you don't get this tip, in our next lecture we'll see the demonstration around it. The other tip is, let's suppose when we are doing the unit testing of our class under test, which is calling the external mock dependency. So when the point of execution reaches where the call goes to the mock dependency, and if you have not stubbed that particular method, then Mockito simply returns a default value. So here if you see, we have provided when and then return. So in then return, we simply provide a pre-configured value, and if we haven't done this stubbing, what Mockito does is, it simply returns the default values. So let's say if the return type is of primitive, so 0 will be returned. If it is a boolean, then false is returned. If it is an object or an array, then null is returned. And if it is a collection, then empty collection is returned. So friends, in our next lecture we'll see the demonstration of all those stuffs which we have discussed here. So let's go to IntelliJ and see that how we can perform basic stubbing in Mockito. First we will see when then return methods, and then we'll see do return when methods. So friends, I hope you like this video. Thanks, have a nice day.